Hello everybody, and welcome to the new Mindscape. In this video, I'm going to continue discussing some of the implications of observing the mindscape, how the mindscape can be seen as a mirror of your own self. When you try meditation, at first, it might actually feel stressful. It's a common idea that the whole point of meditation is to concentrate or to empty the mind. But if you try to do this, you'll find out right away that the mind is constantly generating all kinds of ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and so on. It's a wild monkey. That's what a lot of Buddhist texts say, and that's quite true. It's a mess. So that's the first thing you'll find out. And you'll discover that it's incredibly difficult to calm down the mind. And this is going to make you even more stressed. You want to calm down, but new irrelevant ideas come. New video clips come to your mind, new text messages, new emails, and so on and so forth. All of these things keep coming to your mind, distracting you no matter how hard you try. So the purpose of the naming method in mindfulness meditation is not to force the mind to calm down, but actually just to let these thoughts come. Just let it come. And just name it. So, for example, I just thought, I remembered I have to text my friend Joe. So I would say, thought of texting Joe, and then let the thought go. Let it come, name it, and let it go. Let it come and let it go. Let it come and let it go. And gradually the idea will come and go. You name your thought, you observe it, you see it for what it is, and you let it go on. In a way, your mind is like playing a film. These things come and go. Normally, our thoughts and feelings capture us, but through watching and letting them go, a sense of calm starts to arise, so that we're no longer captured by these thoughts. Then we become calm spectators or observers of these things. We may still have worries, but we just let them go. So the monk in the video says that as we see, we realize a lot of things about ourselves. Because we'll see many of our deep emotions or obsessions come up. And as we see these emotions, these thoughts coming and going, we become more aware of ourselves. But at the same time, we also gain a certain amount of detachment from these thoughts and feelings. When anger comes, you feel the anger, you name it, you observe it, and you let it go. You don't fight it, you don't amplify it, you just watch it and let it go. In this way, anger becomes something separate from yourself as it comes and goes. Where you see that somebody's angry, as the monk says, you realize the same thing is happening to him. Anger came into his mind and captured him, just as sometimes anger comes into your mind and captures you. So by doing so, you can understand others better. According to Yuttadhammo Bhikkhu, the results of this practice are several. The mind becomes calmer, lighter, and happier. We realize things about ourselves and the world around us. We see that there are things in our mind that we could do without. We see why our suffering arises. We come to understand things and understand other people. When people get angry at us, we used to think they were evil. Now we understand that they have the same emotions that we have inside ourselves. We understand why people do, say, and think the things that they do. We see that they're just like us, and we are just like them. We become more aware of the world around us and of the people around us. We become more aware of the things inside of us. We become more able to take things as they go. We can let go of the evil, unwholesome states which exist in our minds. States of anger, greed, delusion, anxiety, worry, stress, fear, arrogance, and conceit. These things which are of no benefit to us or to other people, that create suffering and unhappiness. In the final video clip, Yutadamo Bhikkhu explained that the meditation practice leads us to see the root causes of suffering, the desire for permanence, for satisfaction, and for control. He talks about 3 insights about reality, which he says are the ultimate results of practicing this kind of meditation. These insights are among the key teachings of Buddhism. The first, he says, is attachment, or the illusion of permanence. We tend to think that all the things that we see and are conscious of, all the things in the world, all the things in our mind, we tend to think that they are stable and permanent. But through this practice, we become aware of their impermanence. Everything is just coming and going. None of these things will last. This is the first insight that comes from this practice. Of course, we all know intellectually that nothing's permanent. But psychologically, we're still very much attached to the permanence of things. We're attached to our phones, for instance. I don't want to lose it for a minute. I'm very attached to my best friends and to my family, and I want those relationships to last forever. All these things are deeply important for me, but none of them will last forever. The second insight is about grasping for satisfaction. In our world, we always strive for satisfaction. We consider that satisfaction comes from something outside of us. We seek money because we think we can buy satisfaction with it, such as buying movie tickets, mobile phones, buying holiday resort packages for relaxation, and so on. We're always grasping after these things because we think that this is what brings satisfaction. The insight from this meditation is that such satisfaction is something that's always fleeting and will never last. After a few months, you might get sick of your iPhone and desire a better one. That holiday resort might become boring. So you'll grasp constantly and feel unhappy when you don't get it. And you'll feel unhappy even if you do get it, because it's never enough. The reason for this insight is because as we watch our thoughts coming and going, we'll become detached even from happy thoughts. So even a feeling of comfort or satisfaction is not something that you'd like to prolong. Instead, you should also watch it, observe it, name it, and let it go. All these things, the feeling of satisfaction or dissatisfaction, happiness or unhappiness, they're all impermanent. They're never permanent. And we realize that a lot of things that we strive for, such as different types of achievements and interests, are not intrinsic to us. They're the result of our following the crowd and internalizing what other people consider to be important. We're fooled into wanting to acquire such achievements and passions. But then we become mindful of them, and we realize that they're not who we truly are. The final insight is the uncontrollable nature of the world. We ultimately can't control all these things that come and go. The desire to control is a main cause of suffering and conflict among people, which often culminates in violence and wars. Mindfulness trains us to watch the comings and goings of our feelings, our thoughts, and our mental states, and thus allows us to give up the idea of controlling our thoughts and the things in the world. Gradually, we try less to control our thoughts, and our thoughts control us less, and thus we become aware of our incapacity to control everything. So these are 3 insights about reality that come from these practices. When we ultimately realize that these things that we considered so important are impermanent in some ways, it also leads to another question. Well then, who are we if we are none of these things that appear in our mindscape? And then the ultimate insight that comes with these practices is the realization that you are nothing. But paradoxically, being nothing, you're infinitely more than all these thoughts and objects of consciousness. If you let go of them, you may come to a realization of something so much greater, so much more beautiful, something that's described as a deeper wisdom, the light of consciousness and boundless compassion. These are infinite spiritual qualities. They bring joy and peace to yourself and to others. And so Abdu'l-Baha compared the mind to a mirror. If we clean off the dust and clutter of various ideas, desires, and objects of consciousness, the mind becomes a pure mirror that reflects the light of divine qualities.